Gavin Syme.
And I'm Vivian Corrigan, and welcome to Perthshire Online TV.
So, have you had a busy week? What have you been up to?
I've had a really busy week. I've been out and about, and we're starting a new feature this week called Our Favourite Food. And it's been really good. We were at Brez restaurant. We were invited by Herbie Tabarel, and he made us a pizza. But of course you can't come because you're on a diet.
There's not a lot I can say to that one. I completely am. And who else have you been seeing?
Well, we had a special guest in the studio this week, a red squirrel.
A red squirrel?
Yes, we did. We had a red squirrel in the studio, so that was very exciting. And
so what's that all about?
Well, it's about how the red squirrels are really seriously endangered, and that Perthshire is one of the few areas that we do have red squirrels. But if we're not careful, we're going to lose them. So I interviewed Kirsty Morris from the Perth and Kinross Red Squirrel Group, and she brought our little furry friend with her.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it was good. What about you?
Well, first of all, of course, this week I'd like to announce that we've chosen our first fundraising organisation that we're going to support with regards our alignment with the Peel to Save card in Perth. And we're delighted that that's actually going to be for the first month the fundraising organisation known as SHIP, and also known as Splash, and they're based in Perth and support children and young adults with support needs. So you can buy the Peel to Save card from our the shopping cart on our website as well. So please do. And we also had Sandra Ralston from Perth Festival of the Arts in the studio. Alan had a chat with her about what's on. I think the festival starts around the 17th, around the 17th of May, I think it is. So it's got a great lineup this year, and it's popular as ever. I also had an exclusive interview with Sir Brian Souter.
Oh.
Sir Brian came into the studio.
Very good.
And chatted about the transport industry sector and Stagecoach as a business as well.
So I get the squirrels and you get Brian Souter. Not a lot you can say, really.
Kind of like a comment on that one. So I suppose at this point it's on with the show. Well, I'm delighted today to have Sir Brian Souter in the studio. Sir Brian, welcome to Perthshire Online TV.
Thank you very much.
Brian, for the viewers that maybe don't know a little bit about Stagecoach and the history, where it's come from, where it started off to where you are now, could you give us a little bit of a potted history from where it grew from?
Yeah, well, the company started in 1980. I had identified an opportunity to run long-distance buses, and the law changed and deregulated, so we were able to start these bus services. And I gave up my job as an accountant, and my sister gave up her job in the health service, and we started the company with 2 buses. We opened up some new routes from Aberdeen to Glasgow, coming through Perth. Perth was very important to us because Perth is a hub in Scotland. So the buses from Inverness could come into Perth and they could transfer from the Aberdeen ones and then out to Edinburgh and Glasgow. So just as Perth was a centre for railways, it was a natural centre for a coach network. So it was a great place to start the business and locate. And then of course there was companies privatised by the government and overseas opportunities. As I say, the rest of it is history, but it all started in Perth.
So it was quite, when you were very hands-on, you and your sister, right from the early days. But so what's it grown to now? What size is the organisation?
Well, I think at the last count we had around 13,000 buses and about 36,000 staff. And we operate in Canada, in the United States and in the UK.
And quite a change. You said you were an accountant into the transport sector. How was what was the impetus behind that? Was it, obviously you sort of identified a business opportunity, but quite a change in lifestyle and job as well. Yeah,
well, my dad was a bus driver, and I was always quite passionate about public transport, and I really just wanted to work on the buses when I was young. So I started as a bus conductor when I was 18, part-time when I was a student, and I was interested in accountancy, and I thought it was a good skill set to have. That turned out to be a good decision, because I was able to match my accounting skills with my public transport interest and knowledge, and that was a pretty important mix of skills, actually. So it wasn't such a strange thing for me to do, in the sense that, it was in the family, as it were.
Yeah. And what do you think has been the biggest changes that you've seen from the 80s when you started off the business to where we are now, 2012? There's bound to be huge changes in the way you go about doing business, what the business opportunities are, and I suppose what your customers want as well.
Yeah, well, I think what the customers want is most important, really. And when I started as a bus conductor, the customers, the passengers, as we call them, were seen as a kind of a nuisance, They just got in the way of us doing our job, kind of thing, And of course, we've worked very hard to change that attitude about customers, and recognise that, in actual fact, what the customer wants is really what we have to anticipate. So that's why of recent times we've been trying new things like the Gold service and the sleeper service that I'm trialling on London, and it's really coming up with new ideas and new products that you think customers would like to use, and that has changed quite dramatically. The other thing is that the aspirations of our customers have changed a lot over the years, and from people are choosing to use public transport partly because of the environmental issues, so it's seen as a customer choice. And what we now talk about is intelligent car use. That's what we say: use a car where it makes sense to use a car, and use public transport where it makes sense to use public transport. That's been a big change over the years.
Well, it's interesting because just in the past couple of weeks I've popped through to Edinburgh on a few occasions, and what the traffic's like going through there. The bus service is absolutely fantastic. It gets you there cost efficiently, time-wise. It's quite relaxing as well. So what do you see as some of the innovations and the changes moving forward, Sir Brian? Because obviously it's a very highly competitive sector, but equally it must be quite a stable sector as well, unless there's a new method of transport or there's new technology that comes into play. What do you see as some of the changes moving forward, certainly from Stagecoach's perspective?
Well, I think one of the big opportunities for us going forward is the use of Wi-Fi. It's back to your point about technology, because some things are changing. So obviously selling bus fares on the internet has been a big success for us. Megabus is our high growth product, been now highly successful in America, and we're presently rolling it out across into the other states. We've started in the east, and we're working our way across the country with it, and that's where people can book it in the comfort of their own home, and turn up at a park and ride and just jump out of the car and get on the bus. So we're seeing these technological innovations been affecting us on the bus service. So the thing to do is to anticipate that and run with it. So for instance, if we put Wi-Fi on the vehicle, you can take your laptop out and work on the bus. That's something you can't do in the car. So we've got to look at ways that that we can appeal to people, and what is our unique selling proposition. That's going to be the key issue for us going forward in the future. And so we are going up market often with what we're offering people, but we're also trying to use technology. We're looking at near field signalling, where we could send the bus ticket out to your phone. So all you would really need to come on the bus is to put your phone over a reader.
Right. And the past few years it's been quite general challenges across the economy, not just in the UK but across the world as well. How's that actually fared in the transport sector? Have you seen any major impact or any major trends at all?
It's been amazingly good for us, because first of all, as you pointed out, we're a stable business, and so we've actually been quite resilient to the recession. But high fuel prices seem to give us more traffic, not less traffic. And some of these real value products, like the Mega Rider weekly ticket that we have, which we try to keep attractively priced, Megabus for longer distance trips, these are the things that have appealed to people in a recession because they're really good value for money. Unirider for students, another product we have for young people. So actually, during this time, we've had a very resilient business, and that's why I think the stock market has, favoured Stagecoach's share price over the last couple of years.
And from a demographic perspective, I suppose that method of transport is still popular for the students, young people, the older people as well, who now can zip away for a day at a very affordable price and a quite nice quick trip as well through to Edinburgh or Glasgow or wherever.
The concession scheme has been great for people because they've been able to make these trips and able to make them affordable for them to go and get out of the house. It's so important for people. But at the other end of the scale, it's very expensive for young people to insure a car these days. And young people are more sensitive about the environment than what people in our generation are. So they're actually more willing to use public transport. So the beauty of our business is, yes, it's stable and we have all the the concession scheme, which is very good, but we also have lots of younger people that are interested in public transport. For instance, just now we just recruited another round of graduates, and we've had incredible interest in coming to work at Stagecoach. We had 500 graduates interested in what were 5 places. We've just offered 5 places to young people recently.
And that's fantastic, because that whole graduate recruitment market, from the 80s, it was very popular, and then I think it slipped a little bit, didn't it, probably, and now it's quite buoyant again, from what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, young people, there's not a lot of jobs out there for young people. It's a great subject of concern for all of us. But at Stagecoach, we've been recruiting graduates for a number of years now, and we also have a staff scheme for people, bus drivers and engineers, and if they want to go on the management scheme, there's also an option for them, which is great because they've got experience, which is very important to us.
Fantastic. So Brian, thank you very much for your time today, and thanks for popping into the studio.
Thank you.
Fairways provide cost-effective HR support, from contracts to recruitment, health and safety to training. Fairways, working with you, for you. Visit fairways-uk.com or call Perth 632 561 for a free consultation.
I did it Fairways.
So we're starting a new feature here on Perthshire Online TV called Our Favourite Food. And the very first one that we highlighted was here at Brez, the lovely French restaurant at the bottom of Perth High Street. And they showed us how to make pizza, their speciality. And of course we got to sample it as well, so it was lovely, it was delicious. So if you are a restaurant, a cafe or a food outlet, and you would like us to come and highlight your favourite food, your speciality, then please get in touch. We'd be delighted to come. So here is what we sampled at Brez.
Well, there is no doubt that pizza is one of the most favourite foods on the planet, and here in Perth it's no different. So I am joined by restaurant owner Hervé Taburel here in, now how do you pronounce your restaurant, Hervé? Is it Brez or Brez?
Brez.
It's Brez.
Brez.
Right, you heard that, Gavin. So we're going to make pizza today.
Yes.
So the base, tell us about the base. What makes yours different from lots of other restaurants?
Well, what makes a big difference from other restaurants is the oven, because we use a hardwood burning oven, which makes the difference in the flavor of the pizza. Also, we use a Napolitan base, which is the most common in Italy and the best light dough.
So you're going to flick it about for us a bit?
Well, a little bit, if you want. I'm not Italian, but
So
I learned with the Italian chef.
How long does that prove for?
Well, you've got different process. You have so you make the dough. You use some fresh yeast, some flour imported from Italy, some sea salt, and some water. And you ferment. You leave it fermented for about a couple of hours. And also, this is the first time you prove your dough. After that, if you want to slow the process, you leave the dough inside the fridge. So that will still ferment, but slow.
And how long is it in the fridge for?
Well, you can keep the dough for 3-4 days, and as you keep it, It's harder to work, but it's much lighter
Right.
and much more flavor because it's more fermentation.
Now, Brez is known for having lovely thin bases.
Yes.
So would you like to prepare your base?
Yes.
And then we'll put it together. That's fantastic. So just chat us what you're doing.
Well, I'm just going to make the shape of the pizza and trying to stretch it as much as possible to make it the lightest possible.
So it's not a rolling pin inside, Terry.
No, well, we could use a rolling pin, but we don't need to. This is a traditional way because usually, the pizzeria, they use trays, so that they don't get the flavor of the ground, the floor of the oven, That
Okay.
makes all the difference.
So you're just making sure it doesn't stick.
Yes. So I got the shape. I'm just going to add the tomato sauce,
And is that
which
just...
we make ourselves. We
Right.
reduce some onions and fresh tomatoes for a few hours on the stove.
That's all freshly made here in the restaurant.
Yes.
So now,
I
what
use some
kind
fresh.
of pizza is it you're making?
I'm
for
going to
us?
make a Mediterranean pizza, which is one of the favorites in Brez. So some marinated chicken,
Right.
some fresh mozzarella, some sliced spicy chorizo, and some sauteed onions also, and some roasted peppers.
And this is one of the most
Yes.
asked for
Yes.
pizzas here in the restaurant.
Yes, we sell a lot of this one. Yeah.
And what's the most unusual topping you've been asked for? Anything?
Well, actually, we are very different from other pizzeria because we use a lot of French product in our topping. So as French black pudding, Toulouse sausages. So this is very unusual. You wouldn't see that in other pizzeria.
Right.
We also use like some brie, So usually you go to a pizzeria, they're always the same pizza. Here we try to be totally different, and also people they can choose their own topping.
Yeah, I think that's good.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Yes.
that's in the oven now.
That's in
so
the
how
oven.
long does it cook for?
So the oven is got to be at 300 degrees, which makes a big difference. So our pizza will cook in 90 seconds.
Really?
So I have to keep an eye on it.
Wow.
If you excuse me.
Yeah. 90 seconds. That's
Yes.
unbelievable. That's so
Yeah,
quick.
because of such a high temperature, and the foot of the oven with the fire on the left, so the flame will even make it get some nice color, and also some nice taste with the hardwood. The smoke will make a big difference. So the best is to use oak wood.
Right. You get
Because
more
of the
flavour.
flavour.
You're right. Okay.
So I just turn it every 20 seconds, 4 times, pizza ready.
Wow, that's fantastic. And the pizza oven, is it just used for cooking pizza?
No,
No?
we can use it for totally different things. The only thing is like we have to get the temperature right down. It's dependent on what we're cooking. We cook our bread every morning, so what we do is at night we have about 350 degrees on the oven. We keep all the hash in, all the Brez, close the oven. As we come back in the morning, the oven is about 270 degrees, perfect temperature to cook our bread. So no flame, nothing, we just get rid of all the ash, make our bread here, put it in the oven, and 45 minutes later it's done. So that gives a nice crust.
Yes, I
to it
know, yes.
because of the
The bread
temperature.
here is delicious. It really is lovely.
So this is our pizza ready. As you can see, it's you've got some nice color to it, and
Fantastic.
all the flame, a little bit burn on the side, which keep a little bit of flavor. So
That is amazing. That is
So we just use fresh ingredients. That also makes a big difference. So that's why our pizza are also different.
Definitely. Well, I can see that. And I can see why the restaurant is always so busy. That's super. Well, I think we'll have to get tasting the direction.
Now you have to try it. I guess. That's the best part of it.
That's the best part. Okay, so we'll have a little taste.
Yes.
Okay.
I think you said that.
This is the best bit. Oh, well. That is beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Barry, you got to try
Okay,
this.
it's my turn now.
Should we keep some for Gavin? He's on a diet.
No, he's on a diet. Well, I have to say, this looks incredible. In fact, this looks amazing. And in fact... Drop the camera, I must eat this.
You have to finish it.
And those pizzas, I can tell you, were absolutely fantastic. And we'll have another favourite food for you next week.
Well, as you know, at Perthshire Online TV, we've been working with the Peel to Save card in Perth. One of the fundraising organisations that we're working with on the Peel to Save card is the organisation known as SHIP here in Perth. So we're delighted that we've got Jackie Doig from SHIP here in the studio to chat with us today. Jackie, welcome to Perthshire Online TV.
Thank you.
So, Jackie, tell us just a little bit about what the SHIP organisation actually does. I know you're based at Glenern Community Campus in Glenern Road. What does SHIP actually provide service-wise or support-wise?
Well, what we do is we provide 2 youth clubs a week for children with significant additional support needs. And we also provide play schemes during the school holiday period. So 1 week at Easter, 5 weeks in the summer and 1 week in October. And when they come to youth club, they do various activities, sport activities, art and craft, singing, lots of different things. They're supported by volunteers at all times. And at the play scheme, what they do is they come down and they're taken out for day trips.
Right.
They go out twice a week during the holidays. They have 2 full days each, supported from 10 in the morning till 4 in the afternoon. And they go way out into the community and they visit various venues that they might not otherwise manage to do because of their disabilities. And we also access local facilities such as Bell's Sports Centre.
So you mentioned significant support needs. What typically, what are the challenges that the children have that come along to SHIP?
Well, they suffer from a variety of conditions. Probably the majority condition is autism, but also conditions such as cerebral palsy, global delay, chromosomal disorders. Some of our kids don't actually have a diagnosis, but we're more concerned with how the disability affects their lives and the lives of their families rather than the label of the condition. And it's both mental and physical. Huge challenges for these kids and for their parents and their siblings. Yeah.
And at this point, the youth clubs are on a Monday night and a Tuesday night. Is that right? At Glenern Community Campus.
They are.
And that's split into. There's 2 different age groups, isn't there?
2 different age groups. The Tuesday night is a younger group from 5 to 12. That's a very active group. They use the gym hall in the campus. Very busy. They have a ball. They have a great time. Monday night is a bit more sedate. It's an older group. So they like to chat and they like to play PlayStation, watch DVDs, they go out for walks. But that's a group that we want to spend a bit more time investing kind of thought and creativity with to think about, you know, what more could we do for the older kids, and maybe take them out a bit more into the community.
And your volunteers, are they adults, or who typically works with them?
It's teenagers mainly,
right.
From our local schools that come in.
That's refreshing to hear.
It is. Our volunteers are actually our pride and joy. They are a real credit to themselves and their families. They are very committed. They come in and they work one-to-one with our kids. They build up a real bond with them. And they kind of direct the kids through the activities, but also build friendships with them and support them when we go out in the play scheme. So they're with them all the time.
And how many kids have you actually got that you work with at this point in time?
We've got 63 children just now.
Is that your full capacity? Or?
It's full capacity for the play scheme, which is the day trips during the school holidays. We've got about 50 kids that we can access just now for that. The youth clubs, we still have spaces in the youth clubs. And some of our children come to youth club but not play scheme, and vice versa. It just depends what suits the families.
Looking for volunteers to come and help as well.
We are, yeah. I mean, we would particularly like to have more adult volunteers, and for the older age group, because we're finding that, you know, as they get older, they want older people to be with them.
So, where should somebody get in touch with you if they were interested to actually find out more, either for their kid or actually to work with you? Is there a website and things?
There is. I mean, we have a website. The address for that is ship-splash.co.uk, and we also have a Facebook page which is Ship Splash Play Scheme, and the phone numbers, the contact numbers are on that, and we're very keen for people to get in touch with us from the point of view of fundraising in particular.
I was going to come on to that. Where is Ship actually funded from?
Well, we are not funded from a central government at all. We've been going for 30 years in Perth and Kinross, since 1982. It's always been parent-led until recently. We want non-parents now to come onto our committee and bring other skills to us to help us to develop. But our funding, we have a small service level agreement with the council, which is really helpful. But we have to raise the same again and more to meet our basic costs. And that's where we're continually trying to bring in money. And it's very difficult because you need money to raise your own profile. And that's something that we don't do, because the money that we do raise goes directly to the kids and goes directly to providing significant respite for the families. So we don't invest it in personnel and publicity, which we need to do both.
It's got to be a happy balance, isn't it? So you've been working with the Appeal to Save card and detailing the Appeal to Save card in Perth for a little while now. How are you finding? Because obviously that should be a great source of fundraising activity for you. We're looking forward to working with you over the next month or so on that with the card, and of course, you, as viewers know, they can buy the card online from our shopping cart as well, and 50% of the proceeds goes in the normal manner with the card to the fundraising organisation. How have you been finding the Appeal to Save initiative?
It's been really popular. It's been popular even with the volunteers themselves, and I think when they give it to people, friends and family, they're really surprised at what they're getting. They just expect that it'll be something that they maybe won't use, but they're happy to pay because it's for us and it's going straight to the kids. But when they see what they're getting for it,
it's a real strong value proposition.
It's a win-win, that one, because the actual bargains that are on it are ones that they're going to use. So everybody wants to get their hands on them, which is helping us.
Well, Jackie, thanks a lot for popping into the studio. As we say, look forward to working with you with regards the Appeal to Save initiative, and hopefully you'll be popping in again sometime soon over the course of the next few months and just give us an update.
Yes.
And remember, as Jackie said, they've got capacity with regards some of the children in the youth clubs, and obviously always looking for support volunteers as well, and to find them on the website or via Facebook.
Now, starting on the 17th of May is the Perth Festival of the Arts, and it's been going for 41 years now, I believe. And I've got the organiser in the studio, Sandra Ralston, who's going to tell us all about it. 41 years.
Yes, 41 years, founded in 1972.
So who got this all going?
Well, in 1972, the music critic at the Scotsman newspaper in Edinburgh wrote that Perth was the perfect festival city without a festival. And at that time, the local Chamber of Commerce responded to this comment by setting up a feasibility and seeing whether it would be possible to organise a festival, and in fact they did, and now we are in the 41st year, so wonderful history.
And it's been a fantastic 40 years as well, because there's even written a book about it here, the Conrad Wilson book, 40 years on. And what's in the book?
Well, it really charts the history of the festival. It started as a classical and opera festival, really, in the early 70s, and then over the years has broadened out to include jazz and dance and blues and rock music, children's events, art, really covering all the arts.
And that's the fantastic thing, because I've had a look at the brochure, and it covers everything really, from rock to classical to art. So there's something in there for everybody. Now, you've also produced this brochure, which is available where?
At the Perth Concert Hall and at Perth Theatre. Easy to pick up a copy there.
Okay, and if there's so much on, if people want to find out more, they can go to the website, can't they?
Yes, lots of information on the website, and you can actually view the brochure too on the website.
Yeah. Now, the details for the website is there on your screen. It's perthfestival.co.uk, and there's also a box office telephone number that we'll give them in a moment. But let's start off by having a look who's actually in the event. Now, it starts off with young musicians, because this covers all ages and all different
It does,
arts.
yes. Well, the festival is partly professional, with artists coming from all over the world, but also very much community-based, and lots of schools participating every day at St John's Kirk. Perthshire schools will be giving daily concerts, and these are free to the public. So every day a concert starting on the 17th of May, a school concert in St John's Kirk, and everybody's welcome to come along.
There's 3 concerts, but there's also great things going on, like the Barbara Seville's going to be here, the English
Absolutely,
touring opera.
yes. On the Thursday night, the 17th, we kick off with English Touring Opera, who are touring with the Barbara of Seville. They're doing 2 nights of the Barbara of Seville, and 1 night on Friday of Eugene Onegin. Wonderful
Not
opera.
what I said, Eugene, 1 gin.
Well,
you know where my head was.
they're a fantastic company, beautiful costumes, lovely, beautiful sets. Really, if you like opera, then absolutely sumptuous.
You've got Jules Holland, but unfortunately that's already sold out.
Yes, Jules Holland is coming this year, and he's going to bring a special guest who is Chris Difford, who was from Squeeze.
Oh, okay.
So really, a good party night with Jules Holland.
And it's a bit international as well, so you've got the Berlin Symphony Orchestra.
Yes, we always have an international element to the festival. So yes, very pleased to have the Berlin Symphony Orchestra.
And you've got some, what's this one called? The
Skipnish, yes.
Is that Cayley kind of
It's
music?
a Cayley, yes, and that's great fun. The concert hall put the floor flat in, and we have a wonderful night of dancing. It's a great fun.
That's what I'm going to try and get to, the John Peel Shed.
Yes, I went to see that actually at the Edinburgh Festival last year. A real surprise, a super little show. It's only an hour long, and it got 5 stars at the Edinburgh Fringe. It's about a young man who's passionate about radio, and he won in a competition a box of LPs that used to belong to John Peel.
Wow.
And he plays them during the show, but when he got the box of LPs, he didn't even have a record player. So it's about his journey of listening to the music, and he plays some of the LPs in the show, and he talks about how his life has been transformed by radio and by winning this competition. It's the sweetest little story.
Sounds fantastic.
It is. It's a lovely thing.
Now, also the guy who wrote Conrad Wilson, a critic remembers, who wrote this book, will also be doing a lecture.
Yes, he's going to talk about the festival and his memories. He has been to every festival over the 40 years as a music critic, and has written reviews both for the Scotsman and the Herald newspapers. So it's very much a personal view of what he remembers, but it's very nice to have the record.
And as we said, it goes from rock to classical, and you've got Cassidy here, the Rock Knights.
Yes, Cassidy, young Glasgow band. They've got an album coming out this week, so really looking forward to them coming.
So I'm sure you'll be able to buy the album there.
Yes, very much so.
This looks interesting too, the Rose in Flower. Is that about Tudor music?
It is. Choral music has always been very, very important to the festival, and we always have a choir in St John's Kirk. Perth is a real singing town. Lots of people perform in the amateur operatics and in choirs, and so we find choirs very, very popular. So we're looking forward to this young choir coming.
And I've got one thing to say to you. Goody, it's a goody,
I know.
Yum.
Super that Tim Brooke Taylor's coming. Yeah, really looking forward to that. Unfortunately, we couldn't get the three of them, but he's going to talk about his life in
sure
comedy.
He's got lots of stories to tell.
He will do, yes.
And of course, then Nigel Kennedy. Was there one more that you wanted to highlight there?
Yes, I'd love to talk a little bit about Jack Bruce.
Yeah, sure.
Jack Bruce, as you probably remember, was in Cream with Eric Clapton, and he is bringing his big blues band to the festival this year. He's also a Scot, of course, and we're really looking forward to him coming.
And of course, Nigel Kennedy.
Yes, Nigel Kennedy with the Royal Philharmonic Orchestra. Really a super concert, a big blockbuster finish. We've had quite a number of these big concerts in the past. Recently we've had Dame Kiri Te Kanawa, we've had Bryn Terfel, Nicola Bernadetti, Leslie Garrett, some really nice big strong names. So Nigel's the latest.
Sounds like an ice cream menu.
Yeah. Well, it's just as good.
Well, that's also great as well. It's not just about music, etc. You also got lots of art events going on.
We do.
Tell us a little bit about those.
Yes, well, we mount a big art exhibition in Perth Museum and Art Gallery, and in recent years we had an Andy Warhol exhibition actually 2 years ago, and a Matisse exhibition, and this year it's the artist Wilhelmina Barnes-Graham, who was one of the St Ives group. So there's going to be an exhibition of her work, but also lots of galleries and organisations and community organisations put on exhibitions in Perth during the festival, and we give them free publicity in our brochure. There's also, of course, the really popular Art on the River event. You're going to that one, where we have stalls along the River Tay, and crafts people and artists rent stalls, and it's supposed to be like the Seine in Paris, and if the weather's good, it is like the Seine in Paris.
Gosh, there's so much going on. You've got the Perthshire Photographic Society, the Perthshire Art Association exhibition,
the Embroiderers Guild.
So everything arts related.
Yes, and the Perth Flower Club, they do all the flowers. So yes, it's a real community effort.
So if you want to know more about the Perth Festival of the Arts, you can pick up one of these brochures at the concert hall or the theatre, or you can go to the website as well. Now the website is perthfestival.co.uk. Thank you so much for coming in and telling us all about it, and make sure you get your tickets and book early.
There's certain things in Scotland that we are quite rightly very proud of, whether it's our whisky, our iron brew or our wildlife. I am joined today by Kirsty Morris from Perth and Kinross Red Squirrel Group, who is here to highlight that if we're not very careful, Kirsty, we might actually lose a very valuable member of the wildlife, and that's the red squirrel.
That's true,
so Kirsty,
Vivian.
tell us, what is the situation?
Now there's about 75% of all red squirrels within the UK are located in Scotland, largely Perthshire and the Highlands, because of the introduction of the grey squirrel from America in Victorian times, which unfortunately has caused a massive decline in the red squirrel population. And we really need to do something if we want to make sure that this little creature still stays in our island.
So the Victorians brought it over.
They brought it over from Eastern America,
right,
as a novelty, as a pet.
And it's really just kind of taken over, is that
taken
right?
over. Absolutely decimated the red squirrel population in England, most of Wales, and most of Ireland as well. So
really, the fact that we still have some here in Scotland is unusual, isn't it?
It's unusual, and we need to do something to ensure that we keep them and that we don't lose them.
Because you were saying to me that if you go for a walk in Hyde Park or something in London, you're not going to see red squirrels.
No, you'll just get get worked by a grey for peanuts. There's certainly no reds in London or Glasgow.
So what has really happened then? The reds have just, what, they killed off? The greys have killed off the reds?
Well, the greys are bigger and stronger than the reds. The greys forage largely on the ground because they're heavier. The reds are up in the canopies of the forests. And the greys carry...
a meeting there.
And the greys carry a pox.
Right.
It's harmless to them, but unfortunately if they come in contact with a red squirrel, then chances are the whole population of reds in that area will be wiped out within 20 days.
So it does really devastate
It's fatal to them, and they die an agonisingly slow death.
Yeah.
And that's what happens when the greys and the reds come together.
Really, it's so sad, isn't it? Now, we know a local company has actually, well, it's a bit of a shame, isn't it? Tell us what's happened, what it did.
Unfortunately, they used a grey squirrel in their advert.
Yes, this is Highland Spring we're talking about.
We are talking about them. And we questioned it, and they said that they were unable to find a red to train. However, the advert features sort of heavy CG usage of a mole. And clearly a mole can't play bottles, so why could they not have used a red? It's a shame that they don't promote the indigenous species.
Yeah, and we know another company didn't they? The
Ribena
advert, yeah.
They're a very good advert with a red, featuring heavily a red squirrel.
Yeah, so we really want to, for people to really appreciate that we do have a red squirrel population, but if we're not careful, the numbers speak for themselves, isn't that true?
There's about less than 140,000 red squirrels in the UK now, and there's about 2 or 3 million greys. The greys need to be, wiped out. Well, not wiped out, but they need to be culled, and we need to promote the reds. We want people to contact us via our website and note where they've seen greys, reds, the habitat that they're in, whether they're dead or alive. Unfortunately, red squirrels are prone to roadkill. They're not very good at crossing the road.
Right.
We really need people to promote the red.
So you want to be informed, you want to be told where they are.
Where they are, what they're doing, how many of them there are, and as I said, the forest type that are around them. And if people want to take control of the greys on their land, then they need to speak to us, and we can tell them how to do that.
That's fantastic, and I know your website is coming up on the screen, so that's great. So people can get in touch, and because we really do, we want to be able to save these lovely little creatures.
Well, everybody would want to see one of them in their garden.
I know, of course they would. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Kirsty. That's lovely.
No problem. Thank you, Vivian.
Well, thank you for being with us again this week, and if you've got a venue that you would like us to highlight on our favourite food, then please get in touch with us.
And we always want to hear your news, so you know where to find us. You can email us, you can Facebook us, or you can Twitter us. We want to hear your news as a community, as a big county region. So please do get in touch. If you've got any pictures, any snaps while you're out and about of an event that you think would be beneficial for us to feature on the show and our news round or something, then please email them in to us. Or if you've actually been out and you've got a reasonable piece of filming that you've taken yourself on your flip camera or your iPhone or something, then get in touch with us and push that through to us as well. And you never know, we may be able to use in one of our features or in the news round or just generally to highlight something that's happening out there in your community. So please do keep in touch with us, and we'll see you next week.